Hey everyone. I just sent someone an email and I thought this would be a good video to share. Um, Basically, it's about what what I would like to call like true spirituality. Spirituality, and before you tune out, is a huge growing industry. You've got all these transformational festivals now, like you know there's so many. Bhakti Festival is one. I mean, the list is endless. There's lightning in the bottle. There's, of course, the big ones that were happening, decades ago, like Burning Man. And anyway, you can't count them now. There's just so many. And the this huge growing movement of people who are into healthier eating, organic or vegan or vegetarian food, or people who are you know more into like the spiritual side of things, and understanding about ego and blah blah, all of this. You guys kind of catch my drift here. But from what I have seen, and this is coming with completely objective, peaceful, kind eyes, and the reason for this video is for it to be constructive, hopefully, is I see that 90% of the people that I have met who are in this realm, I mean, there's definitely like a lot of good people who are very wise and really understand this. And you're usually not going to see them at these festivals or gathering where this industry is gathering, where this market is gathering, because they're just getting on with their lives. They're not wearing it on their sleeves. It's not part of their identity. They're not doing it to feel more safer. They're not doing it to feel better about themselves. They're not doing it to feel better than other people. It's not an elitist thing. It's just food is just energy to them. Yes, of course, they're eating organic. They're eating great quality foods. They've figured out what their body needs, and it's just food. It's not like who you are. It's not, hey, I'm better than you because I'm eating organic or blah blah blah, this and that. But 90% of people who I've met, like, and I've been traveling through some of the biggest, I guess you could say, hotspots for like things like yoga, meditation, and you know, I've just been passing through, and of course, I've met so many people and been involved, but um, most people are doing this because they want to feel better about themselves. Most people want to do this because they want to feel better than other people. Most people are doing this because it's a cool new trend. Just like in the 60s, there was a group of people who were doing things for the right reason, but then they set a trend, and along came all the sheep who were doing it because it's a fashion, because it's a trend, because it's cool to wear feather earrings, because it's. And I know it sounds like I'm hating right now. There is definitely some anger in there and some frustration, but remember, yeah, this is what my video is going to be about today. Is going to be about that true love, true spirituality is about learning to be at peace with what you have, where you are, not about wanting more, needing more, craving more, chasing anything, even enlightenment. It's not about chasing enlightenment or wanting it. Enlightenment comes when you stop chasing, when you realize that this, where you are now, is the gift. And I don't really like that word enlightenment, but let's just use it because I think people are going to understand what I mean. But enlightenment is always here. It's always just waiting. It's waiting for you to just come into this, to realize that, oh, there's nothing to rush about. There's no need to compare myself anymore with where I want to be or where. All right, so it's just a zone that we can reach of true love, true presence, true acceptance, okay, which is what true love is. Now, having said that, we've got the other side to us, our ego, the fear-based driving machine that's always wanting, always needing, never satisfied, always wanting more, always wants to be better than everyone else, always wants to be just. It's an energetic machine that's driving the body forward, okay, to survive better. Is there anything wrong with it? Absolutely 100% not. Now, here is where most spirituality is either extremely misunderstood, and please, anybody out there who's going to be commenting, who are spiritual people, listen again. 90%, I would say, of the teachings of Eckhart Tolle, Mooji, all these other great spiritual teachers is misunderstood because what I pretty much consistently see with the spiritual world industry is people trying to eliminate, extinguish their anger, their sadness, their depression. They're trying to eliminate it. They're trying to just constantly be in a state of bliss and happiness, and you'll see them walking around going, "Oh, hey, this," trying to emphasize certain emotions over others, which isn't at all what being a spiritually aware and conscious person is about. You've got, like I said, the true love, the awareness side that will just observe, and part of what it's going to observe is your ego, this driving force that is going to want, that is going to need, it is going to crave, and there's nothing wrong with it. But where your awareness and being a good spiritual practice can come in is when you're aware and you're not allowing those things to just drag you through the world. Because if you allow the ego and that personality, that identity that wants and craves to just do its own thing, it's highly possible it's going to go towards eating sugar, sweetie foods, drinking alcohol. And forgive me for this construction noise out there. Sorry about that. But yeah, it could possibly go towards things that feel good, like sex, drugs, alcohol, eating bad foods, hanging around with people that you shouldn't be, that aren't good for you. So the need and the craving and all of that, I think it's going to exist. It's natural. There's nothing wrong with it. We should treat it with love, with acceptance. That's what love is accepting all that is, all who you are. But when we use our awareness with our ego, this is where we can guide ourselves. Like, for example, people who are feeling needy and craving and they want, and then they wind up going to a Eckhart Tolle talk. That's a good thing, Yes, they might be replacing one need with another, and their new drug has become Eckhart Tolle, and they just need more Eckhart in their life. And it is sad if they're not aware of that, because it's very important to be aware. Awareness is the greatest thing we have to exercise. But at least they've had enough awareness to direct themselves away from worse things that are not good for them. So, being truly spiritual doesn't mean that you've eliminated your anger, eliminated your sadness, that you don't cry anymore, that you're not depressed anymore. No, because that's all part of being human. But being spiritually aware and having a good spiritual practice means that you're able to observe when you're angry. You're able to observe, and not just observe, but accept it and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's my ego. That's what the personality of my ego is. It doesn't like these sorts of people. It prefers these sorts of people. Is that a bad thing? No, it's not. There's nothing. We're not all meant to be friends with each other. Doesn't mean that we all have to hate and hurt each other. No, respect is always important. kindness is always important, tolerance, patience is always important. But if you're with someone, like in a relationship or you have friends, that you just like your greater higher awareness knows that, okay, this isn't like maybe the best friendship. There's no reason why you have to be subjecting yourself to that, or at least you can limit it and make it, you don't have to be as close. You can kind of create some distance until the relationship feels right. Like, okay, I'll talk to you once a week or once a year, whatever works. But trying to force yourself, and then just thinking, oh, I'm a spiritual person, so I should be cool with everyone. No, that's not correct. You know, I'll talk about this more in another video because I've been getting emails from people asking me about my own, uh, an update of where I am with my ex. And I actually got emails from her 3 days ago. And keep in mind now, it's been nearly 2 years since our breakup. So I've made a decision that, I want to like start communicating with her again, and then I'll go into another video about why. I mean, there's no way that we're going to get back together, and in fact, I've kind of been winding down the response of length of my emails to hers, because I'm just not interested in her. And like what the stuff that she talks about, like for example, in an email she sent me yesterday, she's talking about how she's really interested more in polygamy and just being love, like focusing on love and just this and that. I mean that's great, and great for her, but like this doesn't mean that's the right way. Okay, everyone has their own way, and you have to you've got to become aligned with who you are, accept who you are, and like in her case, if that's what she feels most comfortable with and feels most aligned with, then that's great. I mean, my personal view is different. I don't think that's really like. I can see a lot of red flags with that. So my, let's call it ego or my mind, over the span of my lifetime has come to the mathematical conclusion that that's not going to be the best way for me to live my life. And I respect that, and I look at that with my greater awareness, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I think that's cool. That's a good decision. So that's how I think our spiritual practice should work. Kind of more of like a greater awareness that observes our fear side, observes our ego, our mind side, and it helps us to make decisions, based on that. And like decision that I'm making is that I'm, not really. I don't really click with my ex, and I don't want to try to force any kind of friendship. I've opened a channel now between us, and I'm glad that that's been done, because if anything, it's going to help her and myself move even more uh, apart and heal more. Because sometimes when no contact is great and it serves its purpose, but I don't believe it's something that needs to be implemented for eternity. I think that once you've healed and you've found strength on your own, then you can open up again, you can communicate, and feel like if that addiction is still there, that excitement, that that energy towards, if it's still there, then you might need more no contact. But if it's not, then you can kind of you know approach the relationship with more honesty and more strength. And like my case now, like I'm finding that what she's talking about, I'm really not interested in. And if I had just met her for the first time yesterday and she sent me an email about that, I would probably not reply for a while, and or I would just reply very briefly and be like, "Oh, hey, yeah, that's cool. Anyway, yeah, nice meeting you, and have a great weekend." So I kind of did the same thing to my ex, but was more kind, of course, because I understand there's some history between us. But I need to get on with my life, and we're just not clicking. And all right, so I've kind of combined a couple of subjects in this video, but the main one I want to end this on now and refocus on is that, you know, uh, being a spiritual person doesn't mean being perfect. It means being okay with being imperfect, accepting where you are now. I love what Muji says. It worked for me, you know. I had an incredible altered state of consciousness when I watched one of his videos and he was talking about find the state of effortlessness within you, and that's it. And it's a wonderful way to do it because there's something in us that takes energy, that takes effort, and it's a competitive thing. It could be the fear, the ego. As soon as you wake up, that's activated. And it's the fearful mind, the egoic mind that wants to compete, that wants to be better, that wants to keep moving, that isn't happy with where you are now. And if you can somehow find the state where that can just relax, you can tell yourself it's okay, everything's fine. For me, I remember with that powerful altered state that I had, um, I remember telling myself, hey, look, I'm just gonna just take 5 minutes out to not worry about anything. I kind of allowed myself that time. Just try it. Give yourself 2 minutes just to be okay. Like nothing's going to happen. You're going to be fine. Don't worry about anything and just enjoy where you are right now. So, I'm going to wrap this up now. So I hope that there's something in there that helps and makes sense. Remember, being spiritual is just simply about allowing love and acceptance to kind of be more of your driving force through this world, and allowing your awareness to observe your fears and be okay with them. Not try to not feel ashamed, guilty, angry, about things that, you might think are bad or wrong. They're not bad or wrong. It's just how you've been developed. And let's say if I was my ex and you know, I've come to this conclusion mentally that I need to be living my life in a certain way. Like, awareness is always going to help you to decide whether or not that is a good thing. Okay? So, a lot of geniuses have used meditation to help them to come up with mathematical equations, incredible works of art, incredible pieces of music. Because when you are able to tap in to this state of effortlessness and just kind of more not being afraid, not worrying, things really surprisingly would just start to be more clear, start making more sense. And you'll just know that if something is okay, this is just something not right about this, you know? All right, folks. Sorry these videos are getting a bit longer, but you can always stop them or fast forward, I guess. But I'm aiming for 5 minutes. I seem to be getting longer here. So I'm gonna make one more video now, talking about 2 years on from my breakup. Okay, because quite a few people have been asking, so that's gonna be the next video I make. Thanks, and have an awesome day.